I am 98 years old and I have not taken a single prescription medication in over 4 decades. No surgeries, no treatments. A doctor looked me in the eyes last year and told me he had never seen results like mine in a patient my age. I believe the secret is 5 things I eat every single morning. 5 simple things that most people already have in their kitchen right now and have no idea what they are capable of doing to the human body. Stick with me until the end and I am going to explain everything about it. They came to my house with cameras, clipboards, and questions. A young woman from the university, couldn't have been older than 26, sat across from me at this same kitchen table where I've eaten breakfast every morning for the last 51 years. She looked at my hands. She looked at my face. Then she looked back at her notes and said, real quiet, like she was afraid to say it out loud, "Sir, your blood work looks like a 40-year-old man's." I didn't say anything. I just got up, walked to the stove, and started making my oatmeal. She didn't understand what she was looking at. None of them ever do. My name is not important. What I've done with my 98 years on this earth, that's what matters. I was born in a farmhouse outside Knoxville, Tennessee, on March 4th, 1927. My mother delivered me in the back room with no doctor present, just a neighbor woman named Ruth who smelled like lavender and tobacco. I came into this world in the middle of a cold snap that cracked the windows, and somehow, almost a century later, I'm still here, sitting at this table watching the sun come through the same curtain my wife hung in 1973, eating the same things I've eaten for decades. The doctors call it a mystery. I call it a decision. You are living under a lie right now. Not a small lie, a massive, comfortable, expensive lie that the food industry, the pharmaceutical companies, and even well-meaning doctors have been telling you for as long as you've been alive. The lie says that aging is something that happens to you, that your body is supposed to break down, that the fatigue you feel at 45 is normal, that the brain fog at 50 is inevitable, that the pills you'll need at 60 are just part of the deal. I am 98 years old and I take 0 prescription medications. 0. Let me say that again so it lands. Not 1 pill, not 1 injection, not 1 daily supplement prescribed by a physician. The young woman with the clipboard nearly fell out of her chair. I want to tell you about my friend Gerald Hauser to be exact. We met in 1951 at a hardware store in Maryville, Tennessee, and we stayed friends for 43 years. Gerald was a smart man, smarter than me in most ways. He read everything. He followed every diet trend from the 1960s all the way through the 1990s. Low fat in the 70s, high protein in the 80s. He did exactly what the magazines told him, exactly what his doctor told him, exactly what the television told him. He ate margarine instead of butter because someone in a lab coat said it was better. He replaced his eggs with egg whites. He counted calories on little notepads he kept in his shirt pocket. Gerald died in March of 1994 at age 71. His heart gave out on a Tuesday afternoon. He was sitting in a recliner watching the evening news. He'd done everything right. Everything they told him was right. And his body quit on him 27 years before mine even thought about slowing down. The tragedy wasn't Gerald's death. The tragedy was that Gerald spent 40 years being afraid of the wrong things. He was afraid of fat. He was afraid of cholesterol. He was afraid of salt. He spent 4 decades calculating and measuring and worrying, and the whole time the actual enemy was sitting right there on his plate dressed up as health food. I watched my friend shrink, not just physically, though that happened too, but shrink in spirit. Every meal became a math problem. Every bite carried guilt. He ate to survive and forgot entirely how to eat to live. And when he was gone, I sat on my porch on a cold March night, and I made myself a promise. I was 67 years old. I had 31 more years coming that I didn't even know about yet. Here's the first thing I eat every single morning without exception. Raw local honey. 1 tablespoon, taken straight from a jar I get from a man named Dale, who keeps 14 beehives on 12 acres about 6 miles from where I sit right now. Not the honey from the grocery store. Not the kind in the little plastic bear. The real thing. Unfiltered, unpasteurized, still cloudy with pollen and propolis and everything the bees put into it. I put it in my mouth at 6:15 every morning before anything else touches my lips. and I let it sit on my tongue for 30 seconds before I swallow. I've been doing this since 1968. That's 57 years of 1 tablespoon every morning. Doctors have run tests on my immune response 3 times in the last decade. Every single time they look at the results and then look at me like I've broken some kind of rule. The second thing is the one that makes the nutritionists most uncomfortable. Whole eggs, 2 of them, cooked in real butter every morning, 7 days a week. I've eaten eggs this way since I was a boy. When the cholesterol panic swept through America in the late 1960s and 1970s, my neighbors threw out their egg cartons and bought powdered substitutes. My wife Margaret, God rest her soul, she left me in 2009 after 54 years of marriage. She asked me once if I wanted to switch. I told her no. She trusted me, even when she wasn't sure why. My last cholesterol panel, done in October of last year, showed HDL numbers that my doctor photographed with his phone. He actually photographed the printout. Said he'd never seen numbers like that in a patient my age. The eggs stayed. Margaret, I need to stop here for a second because this whole conversation, everything I'm telling you, it doesn't mean anything without her. She sat at this table for 54 years. She made the coffee while I made the eggs. She knew every habit I had, and she protected them like they were sacred, even when the world outside was telling both of us we were wrong. When she died, January 14th, 2009 at 6:40 in the morning in that bedroom right through that door, something in me considered quitting. Not dramatically, not the way people talk about in movies, just quietly, the way a fire considers going out when the wind picks up. But I got up the next morning at 5:50, and I made my oatmeal, and I took my honey, and I cracked my eggs, because she would have wanted me to. And because stopping would have meant she took the best part of me with her. She didn't. I kept it. The third thing is bone broth. Real bone broth. Not the kind in a carton, not the powder you mix with hot water. Beef bones, roasted in my oven at 400 degrees for 45 minutes, then simmered in a pot with water and a splash of apple cider vinegar for no less than 18 hours. I make a batch every Sunday. I drink 1 cup of it every evening at around 5 o'clock, sitting in that chair by the window. I've been doing this since 1981, when a woman at my church named Beatrice Calloway, who was 83 years old at the time and moved like she was 50, told me her grandmother had done it every day of her adult life and lived to 97. Beatrice herself made it to 91. I looked at her joints, her posture, the way she walked into that church hall every Sunday, and I decided that was proof enough for me. The fourth thing will sound too simple. Walnuts, a small handful, about 14 to 16 of them, every single afternoon. Not roasted, not salted. Raw, out of the shell, eaten slowly. I buy them from a farm stand on Route 11 that's been run by the same family since the 1950s. There's something about chewing slowly, about not rushing the afternoon, that I think people have entirely forgotten. We live in a world now where people eat standing up, eat in cars, eat while looking at screens, eat while worrying about what comes next. I sit down, I chew, I look out the window. 14 walnuts takes me about 8 minutes. 8 minutes of complete stillness in the middle of the day. I think those 8 minutes have saved my mind in ways no test can measure. You are probably exhausted right now, not from watching this, from your actual life, the pace of it, the noise of it, the relentless forward pressure of it. I know, because I watch my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren moving through their days at a speed that makes me genuinely afraid for them. Not afraid they'll fail, afraid they'll succeed, and arrive at the end of all that speed completely empty. I've seen it happen. Men who built companies, raised families, accumulated everything the world said to accumulate, and then sat across from me at 82 years old with nothing behind their eyes. You are headed somewhere right now. The question nobody wants to ask out loud is whether that somewhere is worth the price of the getting there. The fifth thing is the one I almost didn't include, because it's the one that's hardest to explain to someone who's never done it. Fermented vegetables, specifically raw sauerkraut made the old way with nothing but cabbage and salt and thyme. 2 tablespoons with dinner, every night. My grandmother made it in a ceramic crock in her root cellar in 1935. My mother made it. Margaret made it, and I make it myself now. The same recipe, the same crock. I still have the original one, a brown stoneware pot with a chip on the rim that happened sometime in the 1940s. When scientists started talking about the gut microbiome in the 2000s, I sat in my chair and listened to them on the radio and thought, took you long enough. My grandmother knew this in 1935. The body already knows what it needs. The problem is, we stopped listening to it somewhere around the time we decided that scientists in laboratories knew more about food than grandmothers in kitchens. Let me be brutally direct with you now, because I'm 98 years old and I don't have the patience for soft language anymore. You are not taking care of yourself. I don't need to know your name or see your face to know that. The way most people in this world are living right now, the processed food, the broken sleep, the constant low-grade panic, the meals eaten in distraction, it is a slow demolition. It is quiet and it is daily, and most people won't notice it until they're 63 years old, and the doctor is using a tone of voice that changes everything. You are building your future body right now. With every single thing you choose to put in your mouth today, you are either constructing something that will carry you, or dismantling something you will desperately need later. There is no third option. There is no neutral. I want to give you 3 things to do. Not suggestions, not ideas to consider. Actual concrete things. Because at my age I know the difference between words that go in and come back out and words that stick. The first one. Tomorrow morning before you eat or drink anything else, take 1 tablespoon of raw local honey and hold it in your mouth for 30 seconds. Do this for 30 days without missing a single morning. Not because I told you to. Because your body will start telling you something within the first week and you need to be paying attention when it does. The second one, throw away every processed oil in your kitchen. Every bottle of vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, all of it. Replace it with real butter and cold-pressed olive oil. This is not a small change. This is a foundational change. The oils sitting in your cabinet right now were not food in 1927 when I was born, and they are not food now. They are industrial products sold in food packaging, and your body has been trying to process them like fuel through the wrong engine for however many years you've been alive. The third one, and this is the one most people will skip, which is exactly why I'm putting it last. Sit down for every meal for the next 30 days. Not at a desk, not in a car, not on a couch with a screen in front of you. At a table, with nothing in your hands but your food. 14 minutes minimum. I'm not talking about meditation or mindfulness or any of the words people use now that have been emptied out by overuse. I'm talking about the simple, radical, completely forgotten act of being present while you eat. Your nervous system needs this. Your digestion needs this. The part of you that is still human and not yet machine. It needs this more than anything. I am going to die. Not as a dramatic statement, as a simple fact. I don't know if it's this year or next year or the year after. I've stopped thinking about it as a problem to be solved and started thinking about it as the last appointment on a very long calendar. What I know is this. I will not spend whatever time remains wishing I had done things differently. I did the work. I made the choices. I sat at this table every morning for 51 years, and I chose, deliberately and without apology, to treat this body like it was worth something. Most people don't make that choice until it's too late to matter. Most people make it in a hospital room or in a doctor's office or lying in bed at 3 a.m. when the fear gets loud enough to hear. Don't be most people. The mystery that medicine cannot explain is not really a mystery at all. It is the result of 10,000 small daily decisions made over the course of a lifetime. It is the honey and the eggs and the broth and the walnuts and the sauerkraut, yes. But it is also the stillness, the sitting down, the not rushing, the looking out the window at the light changing on the curtain that Margaret hung in 1973, which is still hanging there, which I will never take down, which catches the morning sun at an angle that makes everything look, for just a few seconds every day, exactly the way it looked when I was young and she was here and the whole world felt like it had enough time in it for everything we wanted to do. It didn't have enough time. It never does. That's the only real lesson I have left. Nu mais tarde. There is no later. There is only what you do with the morning you still have.